Hey guys, it's Shelly from the Lemonade Store, and today we're going to make a bracelet, a very simple bracelet using some crystals and beads. And the reason why I'm making the bracelet is because lately I've been kind of struggling with some anxiety here and there, and I just find wearing different crystals has always helped. I actually, my first job was working at a bead store when I was 14 years old, and I absolutely loved everything about that. I worked in Laguna Beach. I was able to literally sort and organize beads and crystals all day long, and that was right up my alley. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to keep it super simple and just fun, and then I'll kind of show you what kind of crystals I like for something like that. Just some things that I find calming, and then maybe you can find them calming too. So I apologize if you hear helicopters in the background. We were almost completely done with that holy fire, and then it flared up again 2 days ago just over by our peak. So I apologize, you guys, for the sound on that, but I am so thankful. So many of you have commented and emailed and wished me, well, and we are totally safe, doing good, and I am so thankful and sending good energy vibes to all of those emergency responders, because this has been a hell of a fire. So thanks, you guys. Let's get started on making a bracelet. So all we need to get started to make a bracelet is you're gonna pick the beads that you want. I'm gonna be using some rose quartz, and these are blue lace agate, and they're just like those tumbled chips that you can get. And I like the rose quartz because it's kind of symbolizes love and unconditional love, and I love the blue lace agate because it's really good for anxiety. It's calming. It's kind of representative of water and the ocean because of the blue. So I think the two of these combined is going to make a really cool bracelet. And I'm not going to make it super crazy or fancy because I kind of like the way they line up when they are just in chips format. So I'm just going to use those two. And then I have a clasp that I'm going to use, and it has two rings, so I don't need to add an additional ring. So I'll show you when we get there how that's going to work. I have some crimp beads, and I'm just going to use some basic crimp beads for this as well. And then I have my string. I'm using this bead along string, and it is 7-strand bead along, and I will have links to everything below. A crimper, this is the little tool. You don't have to have this, but I think it does kind of help to crimp, because it will take this little bead here, the crimping bead, and it really kind of gets in there and crimps it for you. And then I have some wire snips to cut my wire, and I have some needle nose pliers. That's what we need to get started. I'll put all the links below, and then we're just gonna kind of have fun and grab whatever stones kind of feel good to us and put them on our bracelet, and then I'll tell you how to kind of clean its energy, is what I like to say. Is like, I always like to in my life, I've always felt that stones just have energy, just like everything else. So sometimes you don't know, you want to clean it because you don't know where it's been or whatnot. So I'll also go over some basic things to do with that. So let's get started with making our bracelet. Okay, so we're gonna start, and there's one other thing that I like to do, like a smaller bead. It could be anything, but I have these like crystal ones. I like those just to go in the front and the back to kind of secure it. So go ahead and get about whatever your wrist. I usually do like, I usually will just do like 11, and then I just trim it. So you start with one side. Okay, so you start on this side. You're going to put a crimp bead on first, and then you're going to take end of your jump ring, is what they call it. This set came with a ring, so you put that on next, then you wrap it around, and you go back through your crimp bead. And you don't want this to be super crazy tight, but you want to push it up so that there's a little bit of room for that ring to move. We're gonna go ahead and crimp the crimp bead. So I'll use this because you guys probably all have needle nose pliers. But the key is you really want to cinch it really, really hard. And what's nice about the crimping tool is that it really does, when you use it, it really kind of gets in there and secures it. So then you're just going to, I like to take a small bead, a smaller bead usually, when I have these chips, and make sure that that gets on there. And try and get it, close enough to your crimp bead. And I'm going for something that is handmade, looks handmade, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because part of this whole process is what helps me calm and find peace in what's around me. And since I have more of these rose quartz than I do of the blue agate, I'll probably do like 2, 1, 2, 1. But slide your bead over, get that tail tucked in so that you can cover it up as best you can. If you have to snip some of it off, you totally can do that too. But if you can just tuck it into the beads, that's usually what I do. And just string all of your beads. So that's the fun part, is making up all of these different designs. You could add a charm if you were doing a necklace, but this, for the purpose of, I just want to have something calming to wear, this will be perfect. It's kind of important with these that you kind of push them so you can try and see how they're gonna fall and mush together, because as they start to move and twist, they fill in the gaps a little bit better. So just keep doing that as you add them, so you can make sure you've got all the spaces kind of filled in. And you might see some wire because these are the chips, and I'm totally okay with that. If you don't like that look, don't do the chips, do something else. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do just to kind of clean your stones. And I mean clean them in like an energy sense. You can put them in sunlight. Some stones you can put in sunlight. So you always kind of want to Google which stones are light sensitive. But if you put them in sunlight, the idea is the sun's gonna cleanse them. You can also put them with like quartz crystals, because quartz is a super cleansing stone, but even that needs to get cleansed on itself once in a while. So like I have this giant Arizona quartz. This is like, I love this piece. This piece sits over by my desk, and sometimes I move it wherever I need it in the house if I feel like it needs to kind of clear the energy. But I'll just drape like my bracelet or something in there. And I might even put this whole thing outside. Moonlight's another good thing to do. The idea is you're just cleansing the energy from your stones. I've always just been drawn to rocks, and I love that, my son is like that too. Like ever since he was like tiny little baby. And the blue, because I started with 2 pinks. Okay, don't forget, we put one of these smaller stones on first, because I like the way that finishes it off. So then we take our crimp bead, and we put our crimp bead on. And then we're going to take our clasp. This one has an extra loop, so we'll do that. Feed it through your crimp bead, and I try and feed it through as many of these as I can, like maybe 2 if I'm lucky. I know I'm not like, super scientific when I do stuff, so I appreciate you guys, but that's how it is for me. I'm always winging it. Is anybody else in the world like that? It's like, and I'm sorry if it annoys people, but for those that it doesn't, thanks for watching. Okay, so pull hard on that. You're gonna get a little bit of room after, so I try and pull on this one a little bit harder. Push my crimp bead down just a smidge, and see if I can I'm gonna push this down just a little bit more. And then, okay. Then you're gonna take your pliers or your crimp bead and you're gonna crimp it. And I like to crimp it with my crimper just to make sure it gets jammed in there really well. And then you can take your snips or a pair of scissors and then you have a finished bracelet. If I wasn't videoing, this probably would have taken 5 minutes, I guess, 10 minutes. It's not that long if you have everything already out. So I'm gonna give this one to my daughter. And I'm probably gonna just tighten this up a little bit here so it makes it really hard for it to come off. And it's got some really pretty crystals on it and it's pretty and it's calming. And you know, even if you take it out, put it in your pocket and you hold it, I find that to be super calming as well. So let's grab some paper. Let's grab our awesome jar. And I'm gonna grab a couple. I grabbed 3, so we'll do 3. So I'm gonna write 3 names on how I would do it with my Crayolas. Katie Rose. Agnes. And Athena. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of the support and I'll see you next time.